freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Abraham Lincoln is known to be perhaps one of the greatest presidents America has ever elected into office, but he also had one of the most tragic exits of office as well. Abraham Lincoln was born February 12, 1809, and was elected as president March 4, 1861. Lincoln served one of the most popular terms in office throughout America's history. This made the tragedy of his assassination that much more devastating. Going over the details of how Lincoln was murdered, why he was murdered, and the aftermath of his death will uncover the information perhaps unknown about Lincoln's presidential termination. Fame can be dangerous, especially when you are famous for something as dominant as being the President of the United States of America. As Lincoln moved throughout his career, people kept track of what he did and the things he said, just as any other celebrity is tracked today. The night of April 14, 1865, President Lincoln had attended the world-famous play Our American Cousin, along with thousands of other guests, in the gorgeous Ford's Theater. Although the setting was rather joyous and peaceful, the country was fully unaware that this would be the last they would see of their beloved president. John Wilkes Booth began with a genius plan to kidnap Lincoln and hold him hostage until he released Confederate prisoners. After attending an event where Lincoln spoke about African American voting rights, Booth's decision changed from kidnap to a murder. The technicalities of the assassination were yet to be decided, but once he uncovered the idea, Booth never let it go. Booth's plan was not just to remove Lincoln, but an entire collective group of the political party as well. This group included Vice President Andrew Johnson, Secretary of State William H. Seward, and General Grant. Luckily, General Grant chose to make a side trip to Philadelphia with his wife instead of attend the play with his co-workers. Many things happened that night that did not work in Lincoln's favor. For example, his bodyguard decided to leave Lincoln during intermission and join his coachman for drinks. Leaving the president unguarded was a prominent factor in the assassination. At this moment, around 10:13 p.m., Booth took the opportunity of the president being left unprotected and shot him point blank in the back of the head, fatally wounding Abraham Lincoln. Booth escaped for 10 days and was on the run before he was discovered. This murder left the country abandoned and, more importantly, confused. The question, why was our president murdered, will repeat in their innocent minds for a long time. Why the president was murdered might not ever make sense to some of the American population. Like I mentioned earlier, Booth's original plan had a clear motive: hold Lincoln hostage until Confederate prisoners were released. After Booth visited Lincoln's speech on April 11th, his motives changed. They became a lot more personal. Booth was in opposition of Lincoln's opinions on African American rights, so this motivated him to do the unthinkable: kill the president. Many people probably opposed Lincoln just like Booth, but something deep within him made the evil deed come true. Although a lot of people just see Booth as a single murderer, there are ideas that it was a conspiracy and Booth had led others to killing as well. After the death, the country was devastated. The day after his death at 10 a.m., Andrew Johnson was appointed president and the work of Reconstruction began. Because they were amidst war, there was much to be done by the new president and more pressure was put on him. Although this was a hard time for America, Lincoln's memory was still going strong. Lincoln's body was first wrapped in an American flag and escorted to the White House. It stayed there for a few days before it was escorted around the country. As the body was transported across the northern part of the U.S., extremely large memorials were held in honor of Abraham Lincoln. America would never forget the president who created the most positive change for our country. In conclusion, all three of these time periods were vital in American history. Although Lincoln's death caused a great travesty to our country, it definitely called for the country to unite and become one. This statement is almost ironic because this was Abe Lincoln's dream in the first place. As Lincoln once said, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other.